is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision, right here and now. My decision, right here and now.
Well, good morning, everyone. That song, I could just hear all of you singing here because it is one of our favorite tunes. And it is important that we do make love our decision. So, good morning again. Welcome to Unity of Syracuse. I am Leland Jackson, and it is my honor to be conducting this service today. And it does still remain kind of different not to see anybody here, but I could imagine you sitting where you usually sit, singing away, filling our sanctuary with such gorgeous sound. So that does not get lost. We are still connected in our hearts, and we are one in our Christ consciousness. So as typical, we start with the reading of the daily word. Today's word is, let go, let God. I let go and trust the divine in me. When faced with decision to make. Do my thoughts turn immediately to divine guidance, or do I seek God's help only when all else fails? Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote that God, quote, loves to be used, and the more you use him, the more easily you use him, and the more pleasant his help becomes. God lives in me and expresses through me. All of the attributes of God are as near as my next thought. I release my attachment to limited human reasoning. I center my mind and heart on the constant flow of divine love, wisdom, understanding, and strength. In the divine flow, I find answers to questions. New possibilities for good emerge. I move forward with confidence. And from Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 29, from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search after him with all your heart and soul. What a wonderful piece here, letting go, let God. And how this so fits with the discussions that we're going on right now as we're reading through Gary Simmons' Eye of the Storm. It is, how do we embrace the ideas of conflict? How do we work with our enemies? And as this daily word just said, it is letting go and letting God. Asking for that guidance. So take this moment now to acknowledge those that you are with, or if you're alone, acknowledge in your heart those that you know to be present. I'm sure we've got folks going on in the chat saying hello as they usually do each Sunday, and that's another way we get to acknowledge each other. Is in that form when we say hello and see who else is watching this service live. So but keep that high level consciousness of all of us here together, for we are joined as a spiritual community. With our thoughts and our prayers, we do stay connected. And now join me as we say our statement of being. And let me just say here that I think next week we're going to try to have it so that when you log on to the YouTube presentation, you will have the scripted things such as our statement of being present. Not everybody knows it by heart, and you can follow along with me as you say it as well. So, God is all, both visible and invisible, one presence, one mind, one power is all. This one that is all is perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. I am an individualized expression of God. I am ever one with this perfect life, perfect love, and perfect substance. So I have a few announcements, really not much new, but I just continue the discussion groups that are going on Tuesday, I believe it's in the morning, Wednesday evening, and Thursday afternoon. You can join all three if you wish, if you have that kind of time, or whichever one. But it's a really good time to be connected with your church family. Also, for the past couple of weeks now, there has been a daily inspirational message going out on our Facebook page, with the exception of Sundays, but the other 6 days, there's one that goes out. And we are continuing the coffee hour. So it'll start shortly after the service, and this is now, I believe, week 3. So come in for just a chit-chat after the service. And it doesn't necessarily have to be any discussion of the lesson today, but it's a time to share with each other. Also, next weekend is Memorial Day weekend. Sally will be our speaker, and it will be a special service. So we will suspend our Eye of the Storm series for that week, and then it'll pick up afterwards. At this time, I would like to welcome anybody new watching our service. And as a guest, we honor your presence, and we appreciate you being here. You know that unity is a positive, practical approach to Christianity. We are culturally Christian and spiritually unlimited. We do honor the many paths to God. So again, if you are a first-time listener and would like to get on our weekly emails, please contact the church office. The number is 315-492-0330. And leave a message. It will be taken up, and we will get you on our email list, and that will have all the links to all of our events as well. And now it is time for us to review our 5 basic principles. These are the basic tenets of unity, and it is how we use them in our lives and how things show up for us on a daily basis. And if anybody would like to share of how these principles have shown up in your life, you can send an email to the church if you'd like to do that. We can read it off that way. You can reach out to one of the speakers as well and see if they want to be that included. So, principle 1. God is the source and creator of all. God is good and present everywhere. God is present everywhere. Number 2, we are spiritual beings created in God's image. 3, we create our life experiences through our way of thinking. How our mind is set over a situation really does affect how the experience we have with that situation. Number 4, there is power in affirmative prayer. Absolutely. Reach out and pray at any moment in time. God is always there. And the last one, number 5, we live these spiritual principles. Without us doing, we can't be this way. So we have to live these principles daily, and our lives are blessed. And now, this is the typical prayer time of our service, where we recognize the prayer requests that may have come in. Since nobody's really coming into the church, the box itself is empty, but we know the prayers are on your heart, and you can hold them there and release them. You can also call Silent Unity at any time you feel you need prayer. 24 hours a day, they are available. Phone number is easy, 1-800-NOW-PRAY. There also is an app that they use. You can connect in with that, but the folks at Silent Unity are there for you at any time. And so let's take a prayer right now. As we close our eyes, we open our hearts, for we know that there are requests on all of our hearts. And these requests, they're intentions of life. And we hold these things in spirit. And we know that they are answered in divine time. We release this to Spirit, and we say, thank you, God. Thank you, Spirit. And so it is. Amen. And now on to my lesson. This week's lesson is based on the one chapter in the book that he titled Making Friends with Conflict. And my title, similar twist on that, is Conflict, My New Friend. Because, I'll say there are times in my life that conflict I ran from. But I am going to actually open with a verse out of Psalms. And the last time I called Silent Unity, they used this. And it just struck me so much that I now keep this on a daily basis. It is from 51, verse 10. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. I have a clean heart created in me. That means I am open to be able to do anything. So as I began thinking about today's lesson, some of my inspirations and what I would want to convey with you, there's going to be some times where I share some of the reasoning behind choices in my life. And some of them were about avoiding conflict. Not probably the best of choices at those times. We do find that hindsight is really beautiful when the lens of time is in place, isn't it? So we go back and we look at those things and see how we did, and maybe I did learn something. But, I think back to my time as a teenager and when I was deciding what career path would I really want to choose. Was interested in computers, and this is in the mid-'70s, very early on in what was happening in the industry. And then also medicine, which had been on my mind for a long time. And I really chose medicine for two reasons. One, I felt that computers would probably be anywhere, and as we see they are now. But also, one of my reasons for thinking about medicine, in my mind, I said, there's no politics in medicine, because I didn't really care for politics, trying to avoid that kind of conflict. Well, let me just say I've learned differently over my years that there is politics in medicine, and I've had to grow with it and be with it and work it. So some of those reasons for decisions that we make, we have to understand that there was probably some other divine ways guiding us at that time. So conflict. How many of us really run away from it? I don't like it. I didn't. I've learned to understand it. Gary Simmons, in his book, is trying to get us to be our authentic self. What's important about being that way? Well, it's when we are truly authentic with our spiritual self that life will flow easily. When we are connected and centered with the divine, despite the storm that is out there, we can move easily through it because we are being divinely guided. And so to be authentic, I need to listen to my inner voice and then act accordingly. That's that fifth principle. We have to live it. I can't just listen to see what that voice is telling me and saying, okay, yeah, I hear it. What am I going to do about it? I have to act. I have to live and be. So what is the purpose of conflict? Or is it just one of those negatives that we must endure? kind of keep this question in mind as I go through this lesson today. What is the purpose of conflict in our life? One of the words that came up during the chapter, actually, but also, this is something that Mina brought out a few weeks ago in her talk, and it is be willing. We have to be willing to listen to that inner voice, first off. We have to be willing to then take the steps and go and learn. And more than ever, I see what Gary Simmons is coming out and saying, be willing. Because once we're willing, then we can grow and we learn more. With a willing, open heart, we are able to learn. So be willing to have conflict in your life. Now, this is the month of May, and of our 12 powers, this month is the word power. And as we work to gain a greater understanding, I took some of the suggestions out of Reverend Linda Martella Whitsett's book, Divine Audacity. She takes the steps with power is first, concentration. With power, we are able to concentrate, to focus. And then the next step is going on to self-mastery. So with this power, we are able to be focused, we are able to concentrate, and gain our self-mastery. We have that guidance, that power within. And the third place she takes it is authority. So with our self-mastery, we then can go into a power state of authority. And this is not authority of ruling a country or things. This is spiritual authority. When you know the truth within and you can speak it, you speak it with great authority. For it is yours. You're the author of it. So when I am in my place of authority, I am then able to make the choices needing to embrace a conflict that may be happening in my life. Coming from that place of authority, the power within me is a step that allows me to say, oh, there's a conflict here, let me embrace it, let me be willing to learn from this. Last week, Sibby touched on some pieces that I was so struck with in the previous chapter. And it comes from the Sermon on the Mount, and it's how do we face our enemies? 4 steps to it. We have to love. So whatever this enemy that you may have, you love it. Next step is to bless. So with the blessings, you're adding to the love that you've already given. And then you do good. What's the right thing in the situation? You might be a gesture to go over to do something, but you do good. And then, most importantly, pray. But these, to love, to bless, to do good, and to pray. What 4 nice steps to deal with an enemy. And you can use that because is the conflict now your enemy? Look at that piece of it. I'm going to read from part of the book here. And this is his section on the Tao of conflict. And he says, simply defined, conflict is an interference pattern of energies. It arises as a field of influence and is evident in every dimension of life, in nature, in society, and in relationships. Wherever there is change, movement, resistance, pressure, or interaction, there exists the potential for conflict. Change and movement is all around us, all active. And there is a potential for conflict. Doesn't mean with every one of these things there is conflict, but in your relationships, that's a time. There's things that are shifting, moving, energy patterns. And how do you then work when they're kind of butting against each other? And this is where Simmons stresses the idea of authentic living and conscious doing. What he states that this piece of conscious doing, it comes out of who you are as an expression of God. So if what you are doing is not connected with the intention to serve God, it is not conscious, it is conditioned. So when we are consciously aware of what we're doing, we are able to be in service to God. And it doesn't matter if it's planting the new spring flowers that is finally able to be done. But if you are just moving along not connected, it's a conditioned response, and it's not living fully authentically. He goes on to say that conflict does not come to us. It comes from us. It is us internally, me, that is creating my own conflict. Whether it's with another individual, they may see nothing, have no issues with it, with whatever interaction is going on. That's their perception. But my perception is one of, need to butt heads. Something's not right. I made that conflict because I didn't listen and open to the possibilities. Importantly, the conflict can motivate us, get us to do something. It leads to rebirth and a transformation. When we embrace the conflict, then we are able to learn from it, to change, to be reborn. And we awaken to new possibilities. So a recent potential conflict in my life came up with the medical staff board that I'm on at Krause. And there was an issue with one of the gentlemen that was selected to be vice president. And then my name got thrown in the ring. And I went, what? I didn't ask for this. So there's now an election that will be going on between us. And the thing with this, because of this election and with what's going on, there has been a change in how we are able to present things. So that we've asked people to put bios in, which we didn't do before. They're going to be available to the medical staff. So we've taken this conflict and raised what we're doing with it to make everything better. We opened up to the possibilities that could happen. No one had ever thought of doing things this way till now. The other thing that Simmons talks about is inner and outer resistance. Now, first off, resistance is out there. But when you think of it on an electrical term, if the wire through which the electricity is traveling has a lot of resistance, not much really gets through. But if that wire has a very low resistance, it flows. So there is a part to have resistance. Talks about, so the outer type of resistance. What kind of resistance is that? It's something that is external to your being. Example, you're stuck in a traffic jam. What are you doing? What's your mood because of that outside thing that you have no control over? Are you going to resist what's going on? What's your reaction, your responses? You know, you might be ready to have an outdoor party and all of a sudden, huge downpour ends it. You didn't have control over that situation, but you built this outer resistance to it. One way to look at outer resistance is more of wishing things were different. And you can label anything you want to go on with that one. But what is really important with these outer resistances is using it now as a tool to review how you are going to show up to the table. Are you going to come from a centered, authentic self, or are you going to fight it? You're going to go against whatever's there and just not move forward. In contrast, the inner types of resistance, those are things that my emotions inside come forth. I might go into a defensive position because I heard somebody made a comment and they didn't like what I had said and so forth, and nope, I got to go make them right. That feeling that I have to justify myself and my actions or whatever they are, those are things of inner resistance. Versus in that setting is, what is that telling me? How did that person perceive it? Okay, maybe I can learn to speak differently. I can do other things, and I can listen to what they have to say. Because often, we've talked on such ways in crossing that we didn't realize we were not even on the same page, and yet we were reacting to things. We are having funny buzzing in here when we stand in certain positions, I have a feeling. Reading again now from his book, and this is something more on the inner resistance. This becomes a major factor in creating conflict because it works against your soul's intention. Your soul moves you towards the present moment so that you can take authentic action. When you are driven to avoid a situation by resisting it, you fail to get the gift that that situation offers. There is a gift in every situation. Are you going to be ready to be open to receive it? And as I get ready to close, the last bit of his chapter. Resistance, challenge, and conflict are necessary elements in our lives because these conditions stretch us and cause us to discover new dimensions within one another and ourselves. The problem with resistance is that we personalize it. We make it as evidence that something is wrong, because resistance produces friction, heat, and difficulty at the beginning. It becomes something we want to avoid. Conflict is most acutely the effect of resisting the resistance. So we have to learn to be open, to be willing, and a situation that you could label conflict becomes a learning opportunity. Let's now take this time to go into meditation, to pull these ideas together, let them sink in our heart. So get comfortable wherever you're sitting, And either close your eyes or look forward just to one spot. And you take that breath in, opening up your heart space. Exhaling, feeling at one with Spirit. Knowing that you are in the right place, the right time. Knowing that God is always there within you. That the power of the Spirit is there. You are open to receive the gifts. Open, ready to listen, and then with divine guidance, move forward. Hold whatever is there on your heart. Pull it out. Let it be shown to the Spirit. Whether it's light, whether it's heavy. We give it to Spirit. We give it to God. We let it go. For as we hold on to it, we prevent its fulfillment. We must release. And as we prepare for a time of silence, we are content. We are filled with Spirit. We breathe the breath of God in the silence. So in this time of quiet, we've come closer to God, closer to Spirit. We feel whole again. All is well. And so it is. Amen. Well, friends, the mission statement for Unity of Syracuse is that we inspire, awaken, and transform lives through unlimited love, prayer, and service. So this is the time in our service where we normally have our offering collected, our sharing of the tithes and gifts. And since you're not present, we invite you to do it multiple ways. On our webpage, there is a donate button to link right through. You may mail your donation in to Unity of Syracuse, 300 West Seneca Turnpike, Syracuse 13207. And you may also wish to sign up for regular automatic giving so that once a week, once a month, whatever your determine is, you set how much is going to be taken out of one of your accounts, whether it be a credit card or whether it be a checking account. You control that. So we do definitely count on your donations. We have our operating expenses still going on, and we appreciate all that you've done. We'll say our love offering blessing. Affirm with me. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God. You are my source. And now I think I hear the children running up the stairs and we're singing something. But wait a minute. They've already had their session. The children are doing a Zoom meeting at 10 o'clock every Sunday for 45 minutes. And if that's something that you have children that want to be a part of and you're not, please contact the office again and we can get you connected with that Zoom session. We know that we have a thriving and edifying youth and family ministry. We bless our children wherever they are. We see them surrounded by love and light throughout the week. I'm going to close in a moment with our prayer for protection and then close out music with When I Pray by Daniel Niemod. So our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love. The power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Whoever God is, all is well. Namaste, my friends.
When I pray, I feel my